Hey everyone, welcome back to 996. The Howl Utah Mammoth win 5-2 against the Minnesota Wild. A very decisive victory against a very good and elite team in the Minnesota Wild. Lineup changes. Oli Mata draws into the lineup. Someone's watching my videos. DeSimone is scratched and Carcone draws in and Tanev draws out. I thought Tanev had a pretty good game against the Avalanche, moving his feet, finishing checks, but we got Carcone and Yamamoto both in the lineup. I'm sure a lot of fans love that. Two fan favorite players in the lineup. Let's get into the game. Like 30 seconds in, very early in the game, there's a 2-on-1 for Minnesota, but Dylan Guenther using his speed defensively breaks up a 2-on-1. Love to see that. Love to see skilled guys playing on the defensive side of the puck and using their speed not to create goals, but to also disrupt goals. Then there's a Minnesota breakaway 2 minutes into the game, but it's Hinostroza, former Coyote, overskates the puck and just completely whiffs on that breakaway chance. Utah's first shot on goal came 4 minutes in, but the shots were still only 1-1. Another sort of slow start, but not as bad as that Avalanche game. I really do feel like this game, the rust was off, completely gone from the break. You couldn't even tell that there was a break watching this game, so that's great. I mean, I had this feeling, this worrying feeling, it's a young team, that the break might have disrupted Utah Mammoth's great play since January, but this game proved that they're back and they know how to play, and this is how they need to play consistently every game moving forward down this stretch. Vejmelka making two huge saves against Ryan Hartman. These were dangerous plays, dangerous chances. They're both like point blank in the slot. Minnesota had a lot of quality chances, but Utah had a lot of quantity chances. They outshot Minnesota 15-6 in the first period, but the quality of Minnesota's was way better than Utah's. But I love that Utah had the mentality of getting shots on net, entering the zone, and just finding shots. There's a lot of times where Utah is not shooting. They're overpassing. I thought they overpassed against the Avalanche. So in this game, they had a shoot-first mentality, which I prefer, and it really helped out in this game. In the middle of the first period, they had a power play. There was a moment where Vejmelka went swimming on a loose puck and nearly got bit by behind, but luckily the Minnesota player couldn't find a good angle to get a shot on the net. It was a pretty good power play, good movement, good shots. Again, I like that attacking mindset Utah had in this game. And then unfortunately they go on a penalty kill sort of late in the first period, but they score. It's Logan Cooley getting a shorthanded goal from McBain and Sergachev. Great effort by McBain and Cooley. They entered the zone with possession, and instead of dumping the puck in behind the net, they sort of hold on to it, make a couple plays. Sergachev gets involved, and the puck finds Cooley, who makes a great shot on the floor through the 5-hole of the Minnesota goaltender to make it 1-0 Utah. Then near the end of the first period, Vejmelka makes a save on a 2-on-1. And there's another Minnesota breakaway, but they clearly missed the net. So Utah goes into the second period up 1-0, out shooting Minnesota 15-6. Great start for the Utah Mammoth. So we go into the second period, and 4.5 minutes in, it's the captain, gold medalist Clayton Keller scoring, assisted by his buddy Nick Schmaltz. Just give him a blank check at this point. This play is all Nick Schmaltz, this goal. I mean, I talked about it like last night in my live video, or 2 nights ago, where Nick Schmaltz was very underrated with stick checks, stick lifts, and his back checking pressure. And this is on Quinn Hughes. Quinn Hughes has the puck. He wants to skate out of his zone, and Nick Schmaltz puts on the speed boots and back checks his butt off in the offensive zone, puts pressure on Hughes, stick lifts him. Hughes is an elite player and grabs a puck from Hughes, and it's a 2-on-1 the other way. A great pass to Keller, who doesn't make a mistake, to make it 2-0. It was all Utah to start the second period. For the first 8 minutes, they were just taking it to Minnesota, played in the offensive zone. Rarely that puck was entering the D zone of the Mammoth, and they add to that goal total. Again, it's the first line. This time it's Krause scoring from Keller and Schmaltz. Utah just holding possession in the offensive zone, making plays, making Minnesota tired. And Krause is having a great, couple games here after the break. I thought he had a great game against the Avalanche, and here I think he has 2 goals on this game. Just that mentality of Krause to shoot, get the puck to the net, get himself into open areas with his stick on the ice, and he's being rewarded. There was so much pressure by the Utah Mammoth. It was just mounting shift after shift, and they're getting rewarded. So they're up 3-0, middle of the second period. There's another first line chance. This time it's Schmaltz to Keller to Krause in the slot, but that gets denied. And then it looks like Utah makes it 4-0. It's a rare appearance by the young gun line of Cooley, Gunther, and Peterka. Peterka enters the zone with speed, does a nice drop pass to Gunther. It's a 2-on-2 situation, but Peterka's speed and the creativity sort of makes a 2-on-1 with that lone defender. And it's a slap shot by Gunther in the slot to make it 4-0, but they quickly review it and quickly deem that it was offside. Very unfortunate. Would have loved to see that, chemistry and confidence building in Peterka. So it's still 3-0. And right after that challenge of offside, the next shift, Utah commits a penalty. And so here I write down, don't lose momentum. Two things just went wrong in a span of 10 to 20 seconds. You think you go up 4-0, it gets called back, and then you go on a penalty kill against a very threatening team. And on that penalty kill, Minnesota scores to make it 3-1. Just a Minnesota player alone at the side of the net. There was two defenders in that area, but they were covering nobody, reaching with the stick in the crease. One defenseman needed to cover that side of the net, and Vejmelka had no chance. So it's 3-1, and I'm a bit, hesitating here because, it shouldn't have been this easy. It seemed like this was becoming a cakewalk of a game, but Utah faces their first challenge in the game with a couple things going against them in a span of a minute. And they could have crumbled very easily here if they had a weaker mindset. Like, they had to face, in the middle of the game, some adversity, and luckily they do overcome it, but they commit another penalty after going down 3-1. And on this penalty kill for Utah, the power play for Minnesota, Vejmelka is on his belly, swimming in the crease. Everyone's swimming. Just Minnesota trying to find an angle where they could put the puck into the net. It was total desperation by all four, counting Vejmelka, 5 Utah players on the ice, all of them on the floor. And Minnesota makes an errant pass and it clears the zone themselves. So Utah escapes that penalty kill, still up 3-1. And then 29 seconds left in the second, Utah goes on a power play. So one of those transitional power plays that usually they don't score on. So in the second period, they outshot Minnesota 10-8. Let's go into the third. My notes for the third: stay out of the box and continue to play in the offensive zone. Don't go into this, defensive mode, complacent, defend lead style. You need to take the game to Minnesota. And fortunately, on that transitional power play, they score on it very early in the third. It's Barrett Hayden. The Haydens see Hayden score a goal, that net front presence on the power play. It's a Sergachev point shot, and Hayden is there in front of the goalie, in front of the crease, gets good meat on the rebound, and he tucks it in to make it 4-1 Utah. And then Vejmelka makes a huge glove save on a streaking Ryan Hartman, and Minnesota gets called for a penalty here. Foligno crashes the net. I think it was a pretty bad call by the refs. It felt like Utah pushed Foligno into Vejmelka, but nonetheless they call it. But the hockey gods always know the game, and so they give Minnesota a breakaway, total breakaway. No Utah Mammoth around this Minnesota player. I believe it was Boldy, but Vejmelka makes a huge save. I believe it was a leg or skate save to close the door on that shorthanded breakaway chance. They don't score on that power play. And then there's a Kerfoot and McBain 2-on-1, but they can't connect. Utah wasn't turtling in this third period. They were taking it to Minnesota, which I really wanted. And they really did build on that third period from the Avalanche. I said it in last recap. This was a really good third period against the Avalanche. They need to play like that next game. And they stretched that play out for a full 60-minute effort here against Minnesota. They make it 5-1. Again, it's Krause assisted by Dursey and McBain. Just another great play by Utah. Cooley doesn't get an assist on this play, but he's the one who enters a zone with possession. It's a sort of 2-on-1 with McBain. It doesn't go the way they wanted. Cooley keeps the puck in the zone, and they make just quick, crisp passes, and Krause has a stick on the ice. in the slot, and he puts it past the goaltender. Minnesota does make it 5-2 late in the third. It's just a misassignment from Sergachev. The Minnesota player beats Sergachev to the net. A bit lackadaisical by Sergachev, but you're up 5-1 with like 5 minutes left. So you give him a pass there. Shots were 12-9 for Utah in the third, which you love to see. You have a lead going into the third, and you outplay the team trying to claw back and tie the game. That's how you play a third period with the lead. Overall, Utah outshot Minnesota 37-23. Great job there. Power play 1 for 3. Love to see the power play scoring. PK 2 for 3, and face off 54%. Quality of possession 5-on-5, Utah had 57%, so way better than the Avalanche. Against the Avalanche, I think it was 47%. Like, this is standard Mammoth hockey. Way over 50% of possession 5-on-5. Expected goals, a slight edge. It was about 2.5 for Utah against 2 for Minnesota 5-on-5, and they still have a big lead in the playoff picture. Now it's 5 points up against Nashville and 6 points up against LA. So it's great that 2 games after the Olympic break, they increased that playoff buffer from 4 points to 5 points. And you got to be happy with that. As long as they're increasing that buffer, maintaining that buffer with the playoff line, they make the playoffs. So they're making it really easy. They got a Chicago afternoon game Sunday. Don't take Chicago lightly. It's a team that could sneakily come into a playoff picture if they grab some wins. So you're way above them in the standings. Just stomp them down in the standings. Maybe we see a Vanacek appearance. So that's it for me. Thanks for watching. If you like what you see, spread the word. And as always, thank you for your support.